Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Agree to Disagree. Today, I am your host, Jack Acello. With me, as always, is Noah Schwartz, Aidan Chard, and Dean Gutic. But today, we are joined by a fifth member and a very special guest, a good friend of ours from Ithaca College, Clay Davis.
Yo,
Clay,
what's up? Yo, what's up, everybody? I got my pet goat, and it's his name is Michael Jordan Noah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah. You already know.
Already energized.
You already know.
You already
We're playing
know.
no games here.
Yes.
Nothing.
Absolutely. Clay is fired up. We're fired up to have him here. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and smash that like button. Also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and also check us out on Spotify, as well as this upcoming Sunday at 8 a.m. Myself, Noah, and Aidan will be back in the VIC studio talking sports where it all started. So be sure to check out that. And also be sure to check out some of Clay's stuff. Check out his podcast, Energize with Clay Davis, as well as check him out on WICB and VIC Radio.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, how are we today?
Yo, doing
fantastic.
Yeah,
well, mostly fantastic.
Could do better.
You guys are on so many platforms. I just like 8 different platforms, and I'm just like, oh my god.
We're trying to get everywhere. We want people to know
you guys
who we
are.
are.
Be on SoundCloud. You could make an OnlyFans. Like, it'd be crazy. Sports OnlyFans.
Indeed. All right, we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk a little basketball, a little bit of baseball, some hockey news, and as well. Am I forgetting anything?
Albert Pujols.
And Albert Pujols. So we'll get into all that. We're going to start with the NBA. We're going to start with yesterday. I'm sure, Aidan, this makes you a little sad. Yesterday, the Celtics and the Pelicans played in probably what will go down as one of the best games of the year. The Celtics blew, I believe it was a 24-point lead in the middle of the third quarter.
Yep.
And it was the largest comeback win for the Pelicans, led by Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. Now, I believe this is a huge turning point for the Pelicans going forward. They have a great young team, lots of good young talent, and Zion, led by Zion and Brandon Ingram. Do you guys think this can turn their season around? And was this a sign of what the future holds for the New Orleans Pelicans?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, the Pelicans all season have been playing way below their potential. Like, they have a much better squad than they've been playing at. And so, as much as it pains me to say it, they deserve to win that game, especially the way the Celtics played at the end of the game. And they definitely should be a team that should, at the very least, be like a 6th seed contender.
Guys,
I'm not going to go that far. I won't go that far. But what I will say, Aidan, is that they have 2 franchise cornerstones, both of whom are like 23 and younger, in Zion and Ingram. Most teams out there that are trying to work their way into the playoffs don't have 2 guys like those. And so you're already off to a great start. Now it's about filling out the rest of the roster, getting the guys that fit, and they don't have a roster that fits. Lonzo Ball doesn't really fit. Eric Bledsoe, who they just acquired, really doesn't fit. Steven Adams can't space the floor. He doesn't fit. So they need to find guys that fit. Josh Hart certainly does, and they'll find other pieces through the draft and free agency and whatnot. But the fact that they have 2 franchise cornerstones, not necessarily going to be in the playoffs this year, but they will be there in the future because they have 2 guys who will be absolutely just amazing for them for the next half decade or more.
No, I agree. Here's the real story that happened. Yesterday, I'm watching the game. Obviously, I'm a Celtics fan, right? I'm sitting on that bed. I'm sleeping, right? I'm like, oh, the game's over. They're by 24. Oh, that's so good. Jason Tatum's hitting every shot. Jaylen Brown's hitting every three-pointer. Oh, they're playing really good on D. I wake up to my dad texting me, and he's like, the Celtics might lose. And I'm like, what is happening? And then Jason Tatum, I woke up to Jason Tatum hitting that game winner or the game tying shot in the fourth quarter. And I was like, they're going to lose. This is the story with them, right? Because it's been like this for years. For years, they get big pieces, right? Like Kemba Walker and Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas. And for some reason, the group just does not come together. And I think that's what New Orleans is doing, right? That New Orleans, you just surround everybody with Zion. You just let Zion, it's like a playground for him. It's literally is. He can shoot. He can do whatever. Just let him roll, like how they did with Anthony Davis, right? But with the Celtics, right, it's mind-boggling. I think that there needs to be a change somewhere So there has to be, right? Brad Stevens been the coach of this team for 8 years. The highest success they've had is the Eastern Conference Finals, and they just can't get past better teams. Even teams that like are better than them but shouldn't be, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Clay, let me challenge you with one point.
Yes.
It's not Brad Stevens, and it's not the roster, at least this season. The
You
problem
think it's Danny Ainge?
It's Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge is the issue here. They have wasted this core for, 3-4 years already, because every time one of these superstars becomes available and they have a chance to make that big move to push them over the top, they pass.
What superstar are you talking about, though?
What is that?
James Harden.
What
They
superstar?
had a shot at James Harden.
Oh, come on. James Harden? You think he would have changed the team?
I'm being proved wrong on that because of Jalen Brown.
Come
In
on.
the past, I thought they should have been way more in on Kevin Durant than they were. They should have made the deal if they could have for Anthony Davis. There have been other guys. Bradley Beal.
All right, Anthony Davis makes sense. All right.
So there have been opportunities, and they have all these first-round picks they have used. Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, all these guys that they have. Robert Williams.
Robert Williams is good.
They don't play. And if they
Exactly.
did,
Exactly.
There's trade them if not.
There's so much talent.
0 minutes.
Yeah. No,
There's so much talent on the Celtics that does not get minutes.
Exactly.
No, I disagree.
And then, but the bigger problem is then the players who are getting minutes aren't as talented. You know, they're giving minutes to Jeff Teague when they should be giving more minutes to Williams or to Pritchard or to any of their other players.
They haven't. Wait.
Put Taco in for Jeff Teague. I don't even care. He's better.
Aiden, are we watching the same games? Because Peyton Pritchard's pretty much been playing like every game.
I know, but give him more minutes. He's been lighting it up.
Same with Robert Williams. They haven't been playing Grant Williams that much, and also with Jeff Teague too.
What if you used Robert Williams, Clay, and you traded him and Peyton Pritchard and Romeo Langford, and you use those sort of picks that you've used, and those guys are mostly wasting away on the bench, and traded them for an impact starter that you need at center?
Well, I think you need time to develop. Also, they have this thing, I think it's like a no trade clause or whatever. So they can pick up any center they want to.
The trade exception from
trade exception for Hayward. So they can pretty much pick up anybody they want to.
Sitting there waiting for them. They got to use it at some point.
Well, they'll use it probably for Andre Drummond.
Yeah,
I think Drummond is where it's going to go.
Yeah, I can
But
see
here's the thing. I understand what you guys are saying. There's one part I disagree with you. It's not. Do I think it's Brad Stevens' fault? No. Do I think it's Tatum, Jalen Brown's fault? Of course not. I disagree with you on the fact that they should have traded for James Harden because
I'm being proved wrong on that. Jalen Brown's playing.
The main reason I don't like that though, because you give up. I'm just saying the Celtics. I don't think they're a deep team. They're going to trade all. They have assets. They have good players like Jalen Brown, Marcus Smart, Kemba. You can move them. But at that point, just James Harden and Jason Tatum, I don't think wins you a championship. But besides that, the biggest problem that I think, I agree with you with Danny Ainge. The problem with Danny Ainge, though, because Danny Ainge, obviously, we all know he loves his young talent. But Brad Stevens doesn't trust that young talent. That's what their entire bench is made up of. And they don't trust these guys to play in critical games and critical situations. The problem, I think, the biggest thing, they need to get veterans with playoff experience that know how to play in tough, critical games. Yep. That is the biggest thing that the Celtics don't have. Outside of Tatum, Brown, and Kemba, Marcus Smart, they don't have really
another NBA level rotation player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
They get all of this young talent, and then yes, Pritchard has been playing, and Naismith has been getting some minutes recently. But like all the rest of the guys that they have that are young, that have a lot of potential, they're not playing these guys. They're not really seeing what they have. And then, they put them in for 5 minutes a game. They don't blow anybody away. And so they don't get any more minutes. And then they also refuse to trade those pieces. Yes, having all of those guys for the future helps, but what are you going to need them for if you're never playing them? It would have helped the Celtics to trade away 3 or 4 of those young pieces that they haven't been using to get a guy that they're going to use.
Yeah, but who's going to want that, Aiden? Who's going to want?
Those are young first-round lottery.
But who wants them? They don't have any experience yet. How are you supposed to know?
But they could be. For a team that's building for the future, that's invaluable.
Absolutely, you could extract value out of all those guys.
Yeah, no, like some of those guys. Get like when you said Clay before, like you could definitely get an Andre Drummond one of those, at least one or two of those players for sure.
Absolutely.
But here's the whole Harden argument. Harden's buddies with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. It was inevitable. It was inevitable that they were going to sign together. You know what I mean? Like you think Harden's going to want to play with like Robert Williams? No. He wants to play with his buddies. You know what I mean? And here's the thing with the Celtics. Not every NBA franchise can be a super team. That's another thing too. You gotta consider that as well. So you got to give these guys time to develop. I think the real problem is Kemba Walker's been playing like garbage.
Yeah.
He's garbage. They got to make a change there.
Starter level that he was for the last 2 years.
Exactly. And I think that's where the piece is, right? Because all of these teams, they all have big threes, right? And their third piece is not contributing as much as Tatum and Brown are. So you got to make a piece you got to make a change there.
They just lost, and I know people don't like the contract. Losing Gordon Hayward was crucial for them. Gordon Hayward fit them perfectly. He averaged 18 points a game. He didn't use a lot of the ball.
Good.
He's a good wing guy.
He wasn't that
fit them, and they never replaced him. They never replaced him.
Yeah, they never replaced him. That was the problem.
Yes,
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
I can understand their point that they don't want to pay realistically a fourth, sometimes fifth option, $120 million.
But what do they do to make up for any of that production? Nothing.
Yeah,
I don't even know, to be honest. I couldn't. Yeah.
Wanamaker too, who I really liked from last year.
Dean, you've been quiet throughout this segment. Anything you want to add?
I was just gonna say pretty much it's not the problem is not losing Gordon Hayward, in my opinion. I wouldn't have given him the money. It's not doing anything.
It's not doing it. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
The problem is I don't want to bring this up to you guys, but Gordon Hayward goes to Charlotte. He's balling out. Terry Rozier goes to Charlotte.
Yeah,
he's having Terry Rozier.
But we chose to get rid of Rozier in favor of keeping Jaylen Brown, and that's a good choice.
And also he peaked afterwards, so you know what I mean. Like he wasn't first 2 years.
I'm not mad about losing Terry.
Nobody was upset with the fact that they let him go and Terry Rozier got the contract that he did.
There's nothing wrong with letting the guys that said go. It's the fact that they're going off once they leave the Celtics, and the Celtics have done not only nothing to replace them, they haven't gotten someone that can help them get over the edge. They need a big man. Andre Drummond, like Jackson, would be great. They need someone else to help. You know, they need experience to help these guys. And the Celtics,
it's like a Jimmy Garoppolo situation, right? Because Jimmy Garoppolo was on the Patriots, and then they got rid of him, and then they knew Brady was going to leave eventually or retire, and then they just never filled that void, right? So it's kind of a similar situation there.
I think, and
that's all Boston sports, honestly. Yeah,
I said this last week, and Clay, I want to know what you think about it.
Yeah, what's up?
I think the Celtics are missing the guy that has like an ego almost, and not like a Kyrie level ego. But all right. You need a guy who, one, wants to be on the team, but two, knows he's the best on the team. Because they don't have.
Who is that though? That's already locked up. Who is that?
Exactly. That's the problem. Like when they lost Kyrie, like it hurt. Having Kyrie on the team hurt them because he didn't want to be there. He didn't care about the team. But at the same time, he knew that he was the head of the team.
That troubled them though.
There isn't anybody like that on the Celtics. They don't have a direction.
No, I understand what he's saying. He's saying that the Celtics, they need a guy who's like, I'm going to lead this team here, but
Tatum doesn't really seem to want to do that.
Yeah, that was like the Kevin Garnett type. That was Kevin Garnett.
Exactly.
That was Kevin Garnett. Yeah.
That kind of player. But the Celtics definitely interesting. But for the Pelicans, this is one of the greatest wins they've ever.
For sure.
Pelicans were so impressive.
Their defense down the stretch was awesome.
Yeah. I think they need to also add some pieces, obviously. It's just such a shame that Drew Holiday, he just wasn't on their timeline because he was such a great fit for this team.
If the Pelicans were in the East, they'd probably be like the number one seed, but everywhere else, like Denver, Utah, both the LA teams, like everyone's balling out.
Yeah, it
really doesn't even matter.
I disagree with you on one point you said before about Lonzo not being a good fit. Obviously, I'm not saying Lonzo's a superstar, but I got to give credit where credit's due. I saw a stat today. Lonzo has been playing very well throughout the month of February. I believe he's averaging close to 17-7. He's shooting around 46%.
He's a good defensive player, too.
Yes, but here's the problem.
Yes.
In this NBA where you need so much shooting, he doesn't provide it. And it's not like Zion, Steven Adams, or any of the other guys that really run in that rotation.
He's not a shooter, but
he's not a shooter. He never really has been.
Exactly.
He's a great passer.
He's a playmaker and defender.
So
Exactly.
where's your extra scoring and shooting coming from when it's not coming from
I
him?
mean, he's averaging 17 this month. He's capable of doing it. It's just a matter
He's
of doing
capable of shooting when he wants to.
Yeah.
He just
Very
doesn't.
low efficiency.
I mean, it's gonna be an interesting trade deadline to see what happens with that. If I was the Pelicans, I would keep him around for a little bit longer because he's still young and he still has potential.
Get rid of Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah. All right, but let's move on. We're gonna move over to another big story in the NBA. Last night, mine and sometimes Noah's New York Knicks. New York Knicks defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves in a very close game. Came down to at the end, but the big news came after the game when the Timberwolves fired their head coach, Ryan Saunders, and immediately had a head coaching hire ready in the wings in Raptors assistant Chris Finch. You don't normally see a situation like this where a coach gets fired. You don't hire a new head coach right away. Usually you have an interim guy on the staff. Do you guys think this was planned for a while? And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
it had to be.
First of all,
I think we all agree that this was
it
this was the
supposed to be.
situation.
It was a shot in the heart. And Damian Lillard said it best. It was a shot in the heart at David Vanderpool. And he's a guy, I know NBA assistants are kind of, I don't want to say irrelevant, but you don't really hear about him in the national media. He's a guy who I've heard about for quite a while. He was in Portland for like 7 or 8 years. He was beloved. Terry Stotts loved him. Dave and CJ loved him. And the fact that he was on their bench and they didn't take him as the next head coach when he'd been a lead assistant for so long.
Mad disrespect.
Crazy. I mean,
Disrespect.
You never see something like that. Because he's the guy who's waiting in the wings. And there had been so much talk about Saunders in the past. Like, is he really the fit? Is he too young? He's only like 33 or 34. Is he the guy who's going to be your coach into the future? And if the answer to that question is no, then I feel like internally you should have a plan for that. You shouldn't have to go and steal someone else's assistant to make that happen.
I think it's a bold move, but I don't think it's a move that they would make without considering it and without being confident in it. That's not the type of hire that you make just on a whim, like, oh, let's go get the Raptors assistant. You know, you don't just choose to do that at random in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a lot that they looked into that, you know, I don't know anything about this guy. And my roommate Marab, who's a massive Timberwolves fan, he knows nothing about this guy. He's been looking into it.
He knows nothing about him.
He knows nothing about.
Wait, no, that doesn't seem true.
Yeah, no,
he's a Timberwolves fan. How does he not know?
He didn't know about Finch.
No, about Finch, not about.
Okay, yeah, I was like, what?
But he's interested to see where it goes, and he agrees with me. Like, it's not. They must have planned for this. They must have been thinking about who they want to replace as head coach. So I trust in it. You know, I think that they did their due diligence and they decided that he was the best fit for the team.
I think the only reason why like Ryan Saunders was there was because Flip was there for so long. You know, it just runs in the family. You know what I mean? So I agree with it. I don't know, like Minnesota, whatever. They're not. Karl Anthony Towns is probably. He's just. I don't know. I don't even know how he plays basketball, to be honest. With everything, all the heartbreak he had from COVID. Yeah. How does he even play basketball? I don't get it, to be honest. He's built differently, I guess, but like it's crazy. There's just so much heartbreak with the team that like this was inevitable. They were gonna have a losing season. I didn't know if it was like this, but yeah. Go ahead, Dean.
First of all, this just seemed like such an in your pocket move. Like, you know, it's like saying to your boss at work, you know, the boss's son is unemployed and you say to your employee, all right, you're fired. And then you call the son and say, all right, you're hired right off the bat and gets it.
True.
Like this felt like such a like this was in the Minnesota Timberwolves back pocket the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, a guy from Nick Nurse. I mean, it's something new for the Raptors. And I didn't think that Timberwolves, and I didn't think that the Timberwolves would make a move like this. Definitely not right after the game. But this is good for the Timberwolves to try something new out, and maybe, you know, this guy has something up his sleeve. So I think it could work. It's one of those. It's hit or miss for me. It's either going to be very good or very bad for the Timberwolves.
Here's my one question I want to throw out to you guys. So we knew that the Timberwolves were coming into the season. They weren't going to be that good. Defensively, they have plenty of issues. But they really never got to see this version of the team fully healthy. Because Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell have only played 10 games together?
Six. They played 6 games together.
6 games. So Ryan Saunders, who obviously you put a lot of trust in to be your head coach, only got to see 6 times his 2 best players together.
And
Anthony
remember,
Edwards.
in one of those 6 games, they beat what might be the best team in the league right now in the Jazz.
Right. So is it really fair to judge Saunders? I mean, he was there for kind of a while, 2 or 3 years, whatever it was. But I don't know. It seems a little soon for me. Now, I didn't think he was the long-term answer anyways, but I think there's an argument to be made that it was a little quickly. They moved this move a little quickly.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I agree with you. It was too early to tell. And I don't know if people realize this, but I think D'Angelo Russell, when he can finally get healthy, his impact is going to be so huge on that Timberwolves team. Obviously, people understand Cat's their guy. He's the guy they build around. But D'Angelo Russell, people are forgetting this now. He's the reason right now Brooklyn has a big 3 of KD, Kyrie, and James Harden.
Absolutely.
He revolutionized the culture in Brooklyn. From the Billy King era, they were
True.
at the bottom of the barrel.
You did your homework, yeah.
At 22 years old, he led that team back to the playoffs, and he helped develop a great young core. I thought when he was going to join,
he was incredible.
Yeah, he was incredible there. He's a guy who's, as a young player, knows how to lead a young team, and I think him and Cat would be great together. If they can play consistently, I thought they were going to be a very solid team. So that was a little unfair to Ryan Saunders. I don't think he deserved to be fired just because he didn't get to see what they had. So I didn't really love that. But,
I mean, they don't really have many pieces. So they were gonna be bad anyway.
I don't know. When you think about it, they have Cat, they have D'Lo, they have, as Marab loves to rave about, they have Naz Reid.
Oh my God.
Naz Reid?
He loves Naz Reid.
Are you serious?
That's his
Naz
favorite player.
Reid. Little Naz Reid. Take my horses to mini.
And they have Anthony Edwards, who's been having a pretty solid rookie season. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess so.
Jamie Fields is playing well. Like, they have talent there.
Again, this is a team that has been playing under their potential, and sure, it's because their 2 best players have only played 6 games together all season. But
not even all season total.
In the next couple seasons, I'm really excited to see where the Timberwolves go, because they could be maybe not title contenders, but they'll be in the mix.
Yeah,
they're 7 or 8 seed, and they'll get bounced by the Lakers.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. You can't compete with any of these teams. Like, I just keep on reiterating this over and over again. Nobody can compete with the Lakers. You just can't do it. You just can't.
This is the top of the West.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Minnesota does. This is like irrelevant. Yeah. This is irrelevant to anything. It's the Lakers. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God.
And obviously Brooklyn, Philly, and Milwaukee are
Yeah, exactly. Like, these teams are so dominant that it doesn't even matter what these secondary market teams do.
No,
that's another thing too. Minnesota's a secondary market. Who's going to want to play in Minnesota? You know what I mean? Unless you get drafted there and you fall in love with the city, Minneapolis, you're not going there. You're not like, oh, Minnesota looks pretty enticing. Like, that's just not happening.
Most NBA teams, I think, or at least I feel, anybody can spend the same amount. Pretty much, obviously, the salary cap. Some owners are cheaper than others and not willing to go for it all. But it's really about which team just builds. To me, the NBA is about culture. It's about how your organization is ran. Are you good at drafting young players that will attract stars so then they can trade them all away for another guy?
Exactly. See, there you go. It's all about the superstars. It's all about, that's literally like, it's just.
Well, that's why I say it's mainly about culture.
It doesn't matter these draft picks. Like, Minnesota could literally draft the entire next draft and it literally will not matter. Like, they can draft every draft prospect from, Maine to Texas. Like, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter.
So you're absolutely right. Like, pretty much, unless you're like a Luka Doncic, nobody's building around.
Yeah, these international players are running the league. If anything,
we can't deny that.
Essentially, you're right.
Yeah. True.
I saw you had a point to make. Go ahead.
Me? You're talking about me?
Dean. I thought it looked like Dean had something to say.
No, I agree. I was just gonna say, when you said who wants to play in Minnesota, sometimes I don't believe that matters. Sometimes I believe it's not the market; it's the foundation that the team is building. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Minnesota has no foundation.
Jack, you're gonna like this example. I usually go against you when you say this. Buffalo. This is a different sport, but you always tell me, "Hey, who wants to play in Buffalo?" Right. But, it's the foundation that they're building. It's the team that they have is why, players want to go there. So it's not really the market. It's the team and where they are in the foundation.
I agree with that.
ahead,
But then
Will.
what is the last super team that's been built in a small market?
Oakland.
Okay. The Warriors. Yes.
Wasn't that long ago.
But even so,
Cleveland?
but even so, it's still California.
What about Cleveland?
It's still one of the biggest teams. Cleveland was just
No.
LeBron.
They
It was
won one
LeBron.
championship, dude.
It was
What?
just LeBron,
No, you
and
can't
he only
say
went back
it
there
wasn't
because he
a
started
super
What?
it.
What are you talking about?
You can't say that first year LeBron's back in Cleveland. You can't say that wasn't a super team. Love was coming off a season. He averaged 27.
Okay, well, he won one ring there.
Love
Well, obviously, he didn't. we didn't
was
try
Love
to-
not drafted by the Cavs, and Kyrie was drafted by the Cavs, and LeBron only went back because
Love
he
not
was
drafted. He
drafted
was
by the
drafted by
Cavs.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay, so still.
there's arguments for both sides, but like, there's arguments for both sides of it. You agree? It is a superstar league. That is what is attractive.
Can I make a point to Dean's comment?
Yeah, sure. Go
The
for it.
NFL and the NBA they're different leagues.
I know
like
that.
you know what I mean. Like the NFL, it doesn't matter. Like you could build like draft picks matter in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like you could change your seat. Like the Indianapolis Colts were garbage, but they drafted Peyton Manning and they won a Super Bowl, and they had a lot of team success and everything like that. You don't have that doesn't happen in the NBA. So I think it's a different case there.
No, I understand your point.
Especially
I agree
in modern
with you.
NBA.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it
exactly.
doesn't
True.
Yeah. Well, throughout the situation, though, I was laughing at this last night. One guy that's got to feel very good right now is Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau. After
He's rocking.
the T-Wolves let him go, he got the guy fired that replaced him. So I'm sure he's smiling right now. So, and he's doing a great job in New York. He has the guys playing hard and playing well. Hopefully, Julius Randle will be an all-star.
Should be.
All right. Before we move on, any final comments on Ryan Saunders?
Hopefully he finds a job.
If you guys want to learn more about this whole thing, talk to Marab.
Yeah.
Rob's a good
Yeah.
source.
Check out Marab on VIC on Sundays. Is that correct? I think it's
I
Sundays.
believe so.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Normally we don't go over this a lot, but we're going to talk some hockey. And this story does not make me happy.
Let's go.
As I am a New York Rangers fan, our superstar, Artemi Panarin, there's been allegations that have come out against him that he has assaulted, I believe it was an 18-year-old girl.
Ew.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Dean Gutic is our main hockey man, so I'm going to let him take the lead on this. Dean, go for it.
I don't want to. Before I start off, I don't want to take shots at you, but the Islanders aren't involved in this drama. It's always, the Rangers. Anyways,
Hey, man.
What's so bad? It's
Oh,
like
fine.
it's a hockey player that like
The
did
only
something that was
time
really
me and
bad.
ever
What?
Agree. So Artemi Panarin's taken a leave of absence after allegedly assaulting an 18-year-old girl in 2011. Now, this comes out after he allegedly spoke out to Vladimir Putin in Russia. So Vladimir Putin obviously is running, and Artemi Panarin is voting against Putin. So some say this is a political hit for Putin because of what is happening, and this is a hit to go against Artemi Panarin. Apparently, this is a source that's reporting this that's very unreliable from Russia, but this seems more like a political hit since Artemi Panarin's going against Putin, and they're going to try and ruin Artemi Panarin's name.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Panarin because it's like I mean I hate the guy for rejecting the Islanders. However, this is a horrible situation for him to be in. He has his hands tied.
I mean,
behind
it's
him.
One thing I want to comment. Is this a horrible situation? Obviously, yes. You never want to be held in a situation like this. Could this turn out to be ugly? Yes. But I'm going to compare it to a situation that I can kind of, I remember
Absolutely
I
right.
told
Jack's
this-
100%
I
right.
told this to Noah. I remember a couple years ago when Enes Kanter was still on the Knicks. I remember there was I think it was Turkey, right? That's where
Yeah, he's-
he's from Turkey. He spoke out against the Turkish government. Yeah.
Yeah, the Turkish government filed an arrest warrant for him, and nothing ever went up. Nothing ever happened with that.
And I'll say that Cantor's parents, I believe to this day, are still in prison, and he hasn't seen them in years. So you always see on Enes Kanter's Instagram things speaking out against the Turkish government and whatnot. So this is not, I mean, if this is true and this is really a hit piece on Panarin, this is not the first time we've seen something to this effect.
Yeah, like it
So
could
it
be
wouldn't
just,
shock me.
it could be just like that. Obviously, could this turn out to be a lot worse than it seems? Yes, but it also could not be as bad as it seems. So I think people need to. Is it going to suck that he's not going to be playing for a while? Yes, hopefully this is just like the Canner situation. Obviously, it's not going to cause him to go to prison or ruin his career, and he could still be able to play for many years.
It might. It might.
might.
Yeah, it was.
Just pure talent.
He's
He's one of the best players the NHL has to offer.
Reminds me of Patrick Kane a few years ago when he assaulted a girl.
Oh,
yeah, but that wasn't.
It was alleged rape.
But it was alleged as well. So
Yes.
It is entirely possible. But I think I can't make an argument because I don't. This just came out today, and like this hasn't been solved yet. So like I can't really make a case, and I don't know the side of the girl. I don't know. I can't make an argument either way for either or.
Never get reported because I didn't see her name, so I don't know what her side of the story is.
Don't know.
There wasn't a name, but there are things saying that this could be a political hit job against Panarin, and it's one of the reasons why he's also taking.
And like Putin's so powerful, like this doesn't even really matter for him. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's a hockey player in the United States. Like, really? Like,
I mean, look, he wants to have control, and I know there's a lot of censorship and whatnot over there. So if there's a potential for someone in America to say something bad about that country, he may have some revenge that he wants to get. Or
people talk bad about. No, I disagree. I think there's been so many times where like people have been like, oh, there's Russian interference with the elections and stuff. They've been saying that stuff for years, and like people don't get like bashed and stuff.
That's somebody who's really popular coming out of that area.
Yeah,
So,
we'll see what
I
happens.
guess. Popular in the hockey in hockey, like he's not popular. Like if I were to grab my roommate right now, he probably wouldn't know who Panarin was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
like it's not really like
hockey's a lot more popular outside of the U.S.
That's true. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, in Russia, that makes sense.
Think
Okay,
about it. It's one of the best players in the only really in probably the biggest hockey league in the world, right? He's one of the best players in that league. And he's from your country.
So people like him.
All right, that makes
there.
sense.
Yeah, but also I will disagree.
Panarin from Russia too? Is he from Russia?
Yeah.
Panarin's from Russia. He played.
Okay.
Obviously, I disagree with you on one point. Obviously, is he the most popular player in the NHL? No, I wouldn't say that. But I think he is a premier player. He plays for a premier market. And obviously, he plays in Madison Square Garden night in and night out. But we could argue last year he was one of the best players. And the Rangers weren't. If they were like a contending team, we could argue an MVP conversation. So it's hard to say. Like I think he is a big face for the NHL. And obviously, the NHL would not want to lose him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this portrays, and obviously a lot more coverage I'm sure is going to come out about this in the next couple of days.
There's two sides of this. You know, if the NHL, if the Rangers back Panarin, the NHL may lose their Russian fan base and also their player base. However,
you look at the Daryl Morey thing, right, Dean?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
That's what I'm thinking. This is going to be the NHL's version of the Hong Kong riots, if you think about it. Like I said, you know, if the Rangers back Panarin, the NHL might lose its Russian fan base. However, if they don't, the NHL may look spineless and people are going to go after them. So it's like, you know, there's a two-way street to this whole situation.
And it couldn't turn out worse for the NHL because on one side they may look weak, on the other side they may lose fans. So there's a potential for this to work out horribly no matter what happens that comes out of this.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any more comments on Artemi Panarin before we move on to our final topic?
Yeah, I think it's just like, as I said, just wait. I don't think you can really make an opinion about this until like actually like further details come out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, the last story we're going to cover, and this is also kind of sort of breaking news coming out today. Reports recently came out that the Angels' first baseman and one of the biggest legends in all of baseball, Albert Pujols, has decided that this could be after this season could be his final year in Major League Baseball. He's had a very long career, an absolutely incredible career, one of the greatest of all time. What do you guys think it is, and where do you think his legacy ranks among the best in baseball?
All right, so he's either a top. He's either the best first baseman of all time or top two. It's either him or Lou Gehrig. I think you could name
for sure.
But Pujols is going to be one of the great. I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, seriously, every number you look at, he's one of the greatest. Top 10 home runs, RBIs, all records for the Cardinals and whatnot. He is sensational. Now, when I look at his resume, he almost reminds me a lot of Ken Griffey Jr. And the reason is his first half of his career was amazing, sort of like Griffey's. He was MVP and all that. And then he goes on to another team, like Griffey goes to Cincinnati, and the second half of the career was not quite the same. Now, they put up good numbers for a while in the back half in their 30s, but it didn't last. And the last few years of Pujols have been pretty awful, to be quite fair. So,
yeah, but he's old, yeah.
No, it's true. So here's the thing to me. As much as he is a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest players of all time, this is almost really like a non-story because his contract with the Angels is up after this year. And if you look at the numbers he's had recently and what value he provides to a major league team in 2021 or 22, he's probably not even a major league level player at this point. So who's offering him another contract? I don't think he would be back with anyone because nobody would be willing to give him a real opportunity. So if he retires after this year, congratulations to Albert, 3-time MVP. I mean, every record in the book, an icon. And it would be amazing to see him go out on a good note in 2021. I'm
not really a huge baseball fan, but like I thought he retired. Like I didn't even know he was still playing.
Honestly, like that's not a surprise, honestly, because he hasn't really made any headlines in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything spectacular. He hasn't been playing to his prior level. And I'm not saying this out of hate towards him. He's a fantastic player, one of the greatest of all time. But like Noah said, this should not be a surprise to anybody.
No.
And yeah, he's gonna go down regardless of when he retires. He's gonna go down as one of the greatest. He probably just, it's his time.
Yeah.
It's his time. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know. Like that was fast.
The greatest ever watched.
Yeah. I think to me, he's the greatest first baseman of all time. Like Noah said, 3-time MVP. I think he also had 5 seasons where he finished second in MVP voting as well.
It's unreal.
Yeah, multiple-time Gold Glover. Also, he was the guy that would rack like 47 home runs in one season while also hitting like 340.
I think he won multiple batting titles.
Yeah,
if I'm correct.
And leading the league in homers. It's just unreal. I remember he broke. Well, I mean, I wasn't younger, but like as I look back and like watched old games, he was a key part of the Mets heartbreak in 06.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
Champion. He did a ton.
Multiple-time World Series.
Which Mets heartbreak?
Yeah.
And you know what's really
which one?
About the career of Pujols? So he's one of the greatest 10 players, or let's say 15 players of all time. He also is playing and spent the last 8 or 9 years with the guy who is the best player of this era, and he was arguably the best player of his own era in the 2000s when it comes to him and Mike Trout. And the crazy thing is, you have 2 of the greatest players of all time on one team together, and they never won even one playoff game.
It's so
How
sad.
insane is
It's
that?
crazy. It's
so
crazy.
But it's so sad. He never should have left St. Louis. It would have been so nice to see him play his whole career there.
I wish he retired in St. Louis.
It's like if Kobe
Me
Bryant
too.
played with LeBron for like the end of Kobe's career and they never made it to the playoffs. That's how crazy that is.
Well, I think the pieces around the Angels are just terrible. So like, you know what I mean? Like that's just why I think Mike Trout can't lead the entire team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
harder to
It
lead
just
a
goes
team
to
in
show-
baseball than-
It goes to show how much of a team sport baseball is. I
It
mean,
really is.
But also, the Angels are a definition. You know, everyone like today, everyone says like, oh, it's like a big market game. It's all about the big market teams. They're all the only teams that win. The Angels are a definition that even though they have money, you have to spend it smartly and the correct way. They've wasted
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
on plenty of guys that haven't worked out. Josh Hamilton,
Justin
Upton hasn't worked out for them.
And we'll see what happens because they now have Anthony Rendon on a $250 million contract.
That's a good
And,
deal.
it'll be him and Trout for the next decade or so.
Yeah.
But we'll see if it works out for him. They don't have enough pitching right now.
Yeah.
Dylan Bundy, they kind of signed out of nowhere last year. He had a nice season, but they really don't have a proven ace. And the Shohei Ohtani experiment hasn't really gone as planned so far. So
Yeah, because he had Tommy John. Yeah.
They're definitely not a playoff lock or anything. They'll probably be on the outside looking in to start the year.
Yep. All right, shall we move on to winners and losers?
Of this week. This is a segment you guys do.
Yeah,
We
this is
do,
the second
yeah.
week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this
All
week.
feel free to pick one of each if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
this week, Aidan and I are winners. So, Aidan, I'm going to start with you. Who is your
Oh
winner?
man, I actually thought we were losers, so I had a loser prepped.
Well, give your
You can
both.
switch with me if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dean, you do your winner.
Oh, I have a loser. Yeah.
All right. You want me to kick this off?
Go for it.
So my winner is, even though the Bruins won the other day and the Avalanche, my winner in general is Lake Tahoe and the NHL. First of all,
true.
if only the NHL could market this better, this would have been way better. But I just love the planning of this whole thing. I mean, minus the Avs game since it got postponed during the day since the ice was deemed unplayable. But, Lake Tahoe, the view, the ice, I just love this whole idea that the NHL's done. I love that the two games that were played were great. Minus one of them. One of them was just a one-sided game.
It was good in the first. It was good in the first period.
It was good in the first period, but it got out of hand afterwards.
The experience was way cooler than the hockey.
Yeah,
so the experience
honestly,
was unbelievable.
It was so cool to look at it,
and the games were unbelievable.
And but the sad part is this isn't something that's going to be able to happen in the future years, because what was so great about it is you could see the views. Next year when they have fans back, you're not going to be able to have all these views.
True.
Right.
Like that, you're not going to get that if you have stands there.
That's
It's true.
Yeah, you're never gonna see that.
Unless you put it in the background, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Noah, your loser.
My loser is Kevin Mather of the Seattle Mariners. I don't know if you guys heard about this story.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's very true.
It is so embarrassing. Now, the Seattle Mariners, we all know they're a pretty dysfunctional organization, and they're awful.
Yeah, because they're run by Nintendo.
I think it's 19 straight years of no playoffs. So I think that's the longest playoff drought in all of professional sports right now. But if you guys didn't see the comments made by their CEO, among them, he criticized one of the better pitchers in franchise history for not speaking good enough English, Hisashi Iwakuma from Japan. He criticized Julio Rodriguez, their super prospect, for his bad English. He's a Latin player. He basically admitted to manipulating Jared Kelenick's service time, and Jack and I have a soft spot for Jared Kelenick, the former Mets prospect, who looks like he might be the next Mike Trout. He also criticized Marco Gonzalez, who might be the best pitcher on the team right now, for being, quote, boring. He talked bad about Mitch Haniger, who was one of the better players on the team. He talked bad about Kyle Seager and said that he is overpaid as the franchise player, the guy who's been their third baseman for like a decade now.
Stupid.
Basically, if you spent 45 minutes talking, you could not have done a worse job. It takes effort to have a worse press conference than what this guy had.
That's
And
crazy.
he resigned today, and his job is now gone. They have to find a new CEO. But it really just exposed all the flaws within Major League Baseball. It exposed the service time issue, which has been going on for a long time. It exposed sort of the racism and just irrelevance towards other cultures and backgrounds, like the Japanese players, like the Latin players. There was just a lot of problems that we've had in baseball that we don't really talk about enough, but he brought them up and put them on himself in this little media session that he did. And now he's paying the price for it. And now the players can use all this as leverage in the next CBA agreement. So it actually works out great for the Players Association. So awful for Kevin Mathers, great for the players, and they'll be able to hopefully get a lot more the next time they negotiate.
Didn't they basically like send out Ichiro? Like they just basically disrespected him, and like he was just basically done.
Yep.
Like, they just basically forced him out.
And
Like the greatest Seattle Mariner of all time, and they basically sent him
They
out.
have not been in the playoffs since that 116 win season, which is the all-time.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
2001, they made it to the playoffs that year with 116 wins. It's shocking that you can win that many games in a baseball season. We'll see if the Dodgers can challenge that this season.
I think they can.
Maybe they can. We'll see. And then they don't make the playoffs again ever since. So they've gone my entire lifetime and haven't made the playoffs, basically. It's wild, but this is what we're talking about with Seattle, and they will probably be awful again this year because they're going to still have to wait for their prospects to come up. Their farm system is really loaded, but they're going to have to wait on that for a little while longer, and then maybe they'll be competitive in the future. But it's going to be an ugly season for the Mariners this year, and this kicked it off with about the worst way you possibly could.
I just want to say one quick thing. This, as an Oriole fan, this gives me hope, what you're saying right
You're
now.
an Oriole
The
fan?
Orioles aren't as dysfunctional as the Seattle Mariners. This actually, I can't believe I'm saying this. This sweetens my sauce. This makes me feel better about the team.
You
I
don't
love.
feel any better. You're an Orioles fan.
You're still an Orioles
this
fan.
makes
Hey, listen, I know I said, listen,
Yo,
I
we
know
got
they
Benintendi. We got Andrew Benintendi, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Listen, I know they stink, but the Mariners are worse, so this makes me happy. And you know what? The future's bright. So thank you.
Wait, Clay, you're a Royals fan? Or
I
thought you were
love
a
the
Red Sox fan?
I love the Kansas City Royals. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
My dad likes them. Yeah.
Oh,
You didn't
Well, have
just
fun with him. He
interrupt
doesn't know how to
Bryant.
hit anymore.
George Bryant back in the 80s. Yeah. He fell in love with him.
I
Yeah.
hate Mustafa. Bacchus.
My
He's not on
loser.
the team anymore. I don't care about him.
My loser was gonna be Mather too. But I guess
Nice.
the other one that I was thinking of is, I don't know if you guys saw that whole interaction between Cam Newton and some fan at a camp, but just like both of them in that situation, it was basically just some random teenager football player trash talking Cam Newton for some reason, and Cam Newton's comeback being, "Yeah, well, I'm rich."
Okay.
And it was a weird video. I don't get like
I gotta watch it.
why that kid thought it was a good idea to just decide to go off on Cam Newton for no reason. Maybe he's a Patriots fan, who knows?
He wants to
But
get
Who
liked.
does
I don't
He
even know that
apologized,
kid's
right?
name. He's the loser.
7-9.
He's my loser of the week.
Aiden, did he apologize? I think he
He
apologized.
did. He did apologize for it. Still a loser.
All right, Clay, you got a winner or a loser for us?
I got both. I'll start with the loser first. Loser, the Ivy League. The Ivy League.
Yes.
The Ivy League announced this week that they would not be doing spring sports, which makes no sense because we're in the middle of February and things can change. Also, other leagues can do it at their caliber, so it makes no sense. Literally, they're ruining their programs. They're losing money. This makes no sense for anyone. Like, this doesn't help anyone. And listen, I understand.
Idea would be the Ivy League.
I'm sorry, Noah.
If anyone could come up with a good idea, it would be the Ivy League to get this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God. And it's just like, here's the thing, right? Like, spring sports also, I was talking, I was at Supercuts the other day, I was talking to my hairdresser, and we came up with the argument that, like, basically you could do all these outdoor sports, right? You could do lax, you could do baseball, you could definitely do baseball.
Oh yeah.
There's no interaction, there's no contact in baseball.
Yeah, wear a mask. They could make you wear a mask in the field or at the plate. I mean,
Exactly. It makes no sense whatsoever, and they're losing so much money. And these, like, what's different, like, Ithaca makes sense, right? Because it's a smaller school, you know. It's also student athletes that don't get paid or not get paid. They don't have a scholarship as well. But with these Cornell athletes, right, especially with hockey, these are international
And lacrosse.
guys. And lacrosse, these are international players that are coming from all over the world to come to your institution just to play sports, not even for the academics, just to play sports. And you're not giving them that opportunity. They're going to go in the tanker for years. All these Ivy League schools.
Oh, absolutely. You're 100% right.
It's unbelievable. So that's my loser of the week. Do you guys have anything to add for that?
No, it's ridiculous. It's
Ridiculous.
a Division One should be functioning. If some Division One schools can function, all of them should be.
Exactly. That's very true.
Yeah.
My winner is Naomi Osaka.
Yeah.
Naomi Osaka.
Yes.
She won the Australia Open.
She beat Brady. That's the best
And
part.
she beat Brady, Jennifer Brady, and not Tom Brady. But we wish it was Tom Brady. But she dominated. She beat Serena Williams. You know, it was one of the great match. She came back against Serena Williams, and she's gonna be. We're gonna hear her name a lot, and I think it's really great. I think Serena Williams, is almost done. I think her career is almost over. I mean, you can play tennis for a really long time. But
I think we saw her last match.
You think we saw her last match?
She made it to the semis at a Grand Slam. Like, that's probably realistically the best she's gonna get.
Yeah, that's true. And she just had a baby. You know, I don't know, when you have a baby like that, and it's just like your body gets a lot of whack and everything like that, so that could play into it as well. So I don't know how long she has left.
Can I throw a question at you guys for 1 second?
Yeah,
I saw this on a tweet a couple days ago. So someone gave the opinion that he thinks, and I forget who wrote this tweet, but he thinks that it would be more likely for Naomi Osaka to pass Serena as the tennis GOAT than it would be for Mahomes to pass Brady as the football GOAT.
That's stupid.
Agree with that?
That's dumb.
That's ridiculous.
That's dumb.
Ridiculous.
That's dumb as hell.
The only reason that possibly could be is because in a sport like tennis, there is a very clear-cut rule about who is the greatest. Serena Williams is the greatest because she is the most successful.
Not only that, Aiden.
She has the most wins. You know?
Yes.
Like
Men's
that's different in football.
Men's it's different though.
In men's it's different, yeah, but for like just a lot of those sports in general, like the individual sports, it is about championships.
Yep.
Nobody's going to say that like somebody's better than Michael Phelps because they tried harder,
They swam
right?
better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In football, it's a lot more subjective. And so, yeah.
Yeah, but also,
That's true.
also another huge difference is though, not only is Serena just the GOAT for women's tennis, she's the GOAT for women's athletes, period.
Oh, yeah.
And
100%.
that I don't think anybody will ever
Yeah.
accomplish.
Yeah. Probably.
All right, just to wrap this up quickly, I got 2 winners. My first winner is going to be, we talked about it a little bit on our special edition episode last week, is Carson Wentz. He got out of Philadelphia. He got out of Philadelphia.
Let's championship now.
Couldn't be happier for him in Indianapolis. It's a perfect situation. Back with Frank Reich. I expect big things from the Colts this year. And finally, my second winner, although I didn't win the Super Bowl, my winner is Patrick Mahomes and his fiance Brittany. They had a beautiful daughter, Sterling Sky Mahomes. Congratulations to them.
Jackson Mahomes, TikTok star, is an uncle.
Yes.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah.
All the possibilities.
Let's go.
Corvette.
Right, just think of all the possibilities. But that is all the time we have, and that's all we got to cover. This has been another edition of Agree to Disagree. Once again, I just want to remind everybody that this Sunday, myself, Noah, and Aidan will be back in the VIC studio, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for.
What's up with Dean? What is Dean doing?
Dean's at home.
Dean's
from
at
So
home.
what is Dean gonna do? He's just gonna chill and play Xbox or something?
Hopefully, Dean will listen.
Add me on PS4.
But
No, I will.
If you want
Good
to
deal.
see more of Dean Gutic and all the rest of us, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for all notifications. Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Spotify. And also, be sure to check out Clay Davis's podcast.
Yeah, Energize. I'm also on Under Review this semester with Jeremy Goldstein and
Nice.
Ethan Birch. So check that out. We're Saturdays at 12. So
Yeah.
on vicradio.org. So yeah.
Just before we wrap it up, Clay, I just want to say once again, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I had a lot of fun. It's always great, talking sports with you guys. So thank you so much.
Exactly. You're welcome anytime. This has been another edition of Agree to Disagree with Noah Schwartz, Aidan Shar, Dean Gutic, and Clay Davis. I'm Jack Casello, and we'll see you guys